Hello, everybody. Happy, what is today? Wednesday. I am sitting here with William Bubba Flint, one of our favorite artists here at Deep Ellum Art Company. He and Chase Fleshman have a gallery show that is running into the new year, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But I'm so excited to have him here, mainly because I was so thrilled to have an excuse to shower and put on clothes. And it feels really good to have a meaningful work to engage in. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us today, Bubba. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I didn't know I was supposed to shower, though.
So anyway. That's also kind of the benefit of the mask, these days, that it really shields, protects yourself, right, as well as everyone else.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, we'll step over to the art wall in a minute to showcase some of your pieces, but we just want to chat for a minute.
Okay.
But really, I want to know about your process. I love your unique frames are such a really cool feature to your work. So tell us about your process and how you...
First off, as far as the frames, I buy them from thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, wherever I can find them. And when I see a frame, it just kind of, I see what's going to happen to it later. I might buy a frame and somebody, I go, well, that's frame's awful. But in my mind, I've already got a painting that's going to go in that frame. So it's all about the frame hunt,
Okay.
And, we head out and look for frames. And then I get the frames, and then I come up with what I want to put in there. And most of the frames, like I say, dictate what's going to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
If it's kind of a cheesy frame, it's going to be a cheesy subject matter.
They inspire your subject matter.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And every now and then I'll have somebody I want to paint, like a David Bowie. It's going to be more of a glamorous, And so I see a frame and it's gaudy and all that. Bowie's going to look great in there. And so I get the frame, and what allows me to paint in any size, because it's not canvas, is that it's on masonite. And I can take the masonite.
Tell us about masonite. I don't really educate me on masonite.
Well, masonite's just this, piece of flat kind of wood that has a slick side and kind of textured side. And so masonite, I kind of got going on that because I like to do a lot of fine detail. And with the canvas, I really wasn't getting that, because in canvas, you can prime it, do all the different things, but you still, it takes hours upon hours. And I paint in acrylic too. So just with the masonite, it takes the acrylic, it dries fast, I can work fast, which I work really fast. I enjoy that. I always said that I'm kind of more of a punk rock painter instead of a classical painter.
Punk rock painter. I like that. Punk rock painter.
You're going to come in, it's going to be fast, it's going to be quick, and it's not going to be perfect, kind of like, going to see the Ramones. And I take pride in that. And so I get the masonite, cut it out, prime it, let it dry, and I'll cut several pieces at once to fit all the different frames, prime them, sand them down, and then the process is on. And I kind of just do all the drawing right there on the panel. A lot of people do preliminary drawings. The true artists do preliminary drawings and have this long thought out process. But what I found is when I did preliminary drawings, sometimes the preliminary drawings were better than the actual drawing, because I have this energy going into that original. So I said, I'm just going to go right to the panel.
You capture that energy initially.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hear it all the time with musicians. They say their demos are better than the finished product. It's probably because once you play it 3 and 4 times, it's kind of lost its edge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of felt that with the painting process. And so I pencil out, throw the paint on there, finish it, put lacquer on top to give it this kind of cool shine, and then I'm on to the next thing. So that's kind of the process of it. For a show, like for this show, it was kind of, Chase and I had talked, and we wanted to kind of do a throwback to some things. Well, everything I do is a throwback.
Mm-hmm.
I call my paintings, modern paintings from the past, yes. Which kind of explains that, I'm doing things from my childhood and whatnot, mm-hmm. and putting them down. So for this show, I had things I wanted to do that were part of that. So I kind of had that in mind. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love your vintage subject matter. It's appealing. It's just, I don't know, I'm such a fan.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, let's see. My phone went dark, and I already forgot my second question. Oh wow! And now my Face ID doesn't work because the mask is on. Wow. You just thought you were coming to a
No, I'm used
formal
to this.
interview
I was hoping
here.
it wasn't.
Okay. All right. What about when did you discover art? Did you discover it as a little person?
Ever since I can remember.
Okay.
Probably at 3 or 4, I started
cool.
drawing.
Like crayons, markers, like
whatever
typical.
I could find.
Okay.
Yeah, I kiddingly say I come from a poor background as far as a child, and I would get anything I could, a piece of cardboard that somebody was throwing away or whatever, and I'd get it and I'd draw on it. And so as time went on, before I ever got into school, I was drawing and coloring. I had an older sister that would go to school, and she'd bring home her old crayons, and I'd just grab them. And ever since I can remember, I was drawing and loved cartoons, loved all things like that. It never was anything abstract or I wanted to do landscapes or anything like that. It was always the cartoons because I'm just a fan as a child. I'd get up every Saturday morning and hit that TV and watch those cartoons.
Would you draw while you were watching cartoons?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, because, we didn't have Google back then. And so,
really?
Yeah. So I would just draw as I was watching. And because there's really no reference beyond that. And so a lot of the things would start getting distorted because as a little child, I didn't understand, perspective or shading or things of that nature. But I just worked it out and just loved it and just took to it. Yeah.
So do you think, did you really even start to develop your style as an artist as a young?
Right.
That's really cool.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know why. I mean, even to this day, and we'll talk about, what training I've had and whatnot. Even to this day, I can go and try to copy something exactly like it is, and it still comes out in my distorted style. People will say, oh, well, can you do my portrait? Well, it's going to be in my distorted style. It's not going to look like, a photograph. So I don't know, if it's the hand-eye coordination, what it was, but it was just something I went with. And to this day, I love it. I love it. So
it's such a unique style. And like I said, it's so just so appealing, and it invokes all kinds of just happy emotions. It's aside from the style, just your color and, like I said, the frames and what a really cool process you've got going there. Okay. You mentioned, or we talked about training, and I have to point out, I love your SMU mask. So Bubba and I are SMU alumni. So go Ponies.
Yes.
I don't know, when were you there?
I actually graduated in 2005.
Okay.
I was a late bloomer. I had first round, I did college and majored in baseball.
Majored in baseball.
Yeah,
okay. Is there a little side story there?
Well, I went to Eastfield College, and
okay, that's here in Dallas.
yeah,
excellent.
it's a little baseball powerhouse in the early '80s. I played there, had 2 great years there, and didn't do a whole lot at school because we were traveling so much. And then once I got out of that, I got a job designing in the design industry, and was just doing this stuff on the side. Well, I don't know. I do editorial cartoons, and I've done that for quite some time. Well, after 9/11, the whole thing changed, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go back and get my degree. And so I applied to SMU and got a full scholarship to go there in the art department.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
And Meadows is super competitive, and I feel like it's only gotten more competitive since I was there. I won't say how long ago I graduated, but
well, now you probably just graduated a few years ago.
no,
but
I graduated in 2001, which is crazy.
wow.
Like I'm coming up on my 20th.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, see, I was
college
05.
reunion. I know John's looking at me. He's like, "Oh wow, it's about time to trade up." I know, I can't believe it either. Anyway, go Ponies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, and to the point of SMU real quick, when I went there and I'm on full scholarship, it wasn't about this. It wasn't about the lowbrow. My professors would frown upon that immensely, and I knew that. Being older, I knew that. So I played the game, did the live nudes, did everything, played the game.
Checked all the boxes.
Exactly. And so when it finally came towards the end, they didn't even know I was an editorial cartoonist. I was drawing for the Dallas Morning News, and finally one of the professors put 2 and 2 together.
Oh,
and I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. So they really pushed me away from anything cartoony, which that was fine. I was there. I loved it. Great. I learned a lot of
technical
things.
training.
Yeah, Mary Vernon taught me a lot of color tricks and whatnot that I bring to my art now. But it really wasn't about the lowbrow look that I was doing. And I kind of started doing that towards the end because you really get to where you don't care what they think, and that's kind of where they want you to get. So, yeah, I love my time at SMU, and I got some really good training there that I still apply to what I do now. It's just the subject matter is a little different now than what I did at SMU, yeah.
Cool. Cool. Well, I want to come back around to SMU and do a little plug really quickly. Aside from Bubba's and my connection with SMU, one of our team members, Khalid Beard, who he and I were also SMU classmates, if you will, also alumni. Anyway, he is on our team as part of the security detail, and he, you know, when we're closed, we, you know, he's not getting paid to be oh my gosh, and now you've totally thrown me. Thanks so much. Anyway, when we're closed, we, you know, aren't paying our hourly team members. And so anyway, Khalid has been such a blessing to John and I both. I don't know if you've seen John recently, but he's dropped, what are we down, like 50 pounds now? Something like that. Anyway, Khalid has been such a blessing to John and I throughout this pandemic. Khalid is a personal trainer, and we have been Zooming with him at noon for like the last, 8 months now, and are probably in the best shape of our lives. So anyway, give the gift of fitness this holiday season. Check out Khalid's Chaotic Home Fitness and support local. You know, like I said, in the same vein as our Save Our Stages, supporting local artists, purchasing art. You know, professionals that depend on places of gathering like gyms and other things like that really depend on this personal connection to customers. So Khalid Chaotic Home Fitness. Check it out. All right, let's see, where else are we on the list? Face ID. Doesn't like the mask. Okay. Okay, you mentioned one of your professors.
Yes.
What about who helped shape your work as an artist? But what about were there any influences aside from, you know, cartoons that really kind of formed?
You know, I gotta, you know, like I said, the cartoons of my childhood, but also the ads of my childhood. But Mad Magazine probably did more to my career than any other thing. Cool. You know, that I realized as a child, these are adults doing this and they're getting paid to do it. But yeah, Mad Magazine was really big. I love the slapstick comedy. You know, we all grew up with the Three Stooges and whatnot. I happen to have a wonderful high school or junior high and high school teacher that you just pushed me and said, keep going in that route. You know, Martha Jo Talbot at Mesquite. But yeah, probably a little bit of everything has influenced me. I love music, so that's why you see a lot of music in mine. I love the Route 66, old nostalgic stuff. But even with the nostalgic, I like bringing into a new twist, as I call it, mashups, where you take something old, new, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, the influences are there. You don't have to look far to see where my influences are, because they're all over, you know. And I appeal, thankfully, to the tiki crowd, to the rockabilly crowd, to the rock and roll crowd, to the younger people. You know, a lot of people buy my work are young people, which gets me excited. Which funny, a lot of young people now are having me paint old people like Buddy Holly and Johnny Cash because they like that. But I like to think that that's part of the process, that I can bring some nostalgia back into the future. So yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorite things that I've seen you do recently, your commission pieces were the family portraits.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And part of me is like, I hope my sister-in-law's not watching, because that is totally I was like, John, our sister-in-law Denise, their family would look amazing. Well, you would make them. They're already pretty awesome, but I just know you would do such a cool job. So that's kind of on my list.
Yeah, you know, and it's fun to do that. I kind of always say that's kind of painting in a box because I have to go.
Right.
But what people allow me to do is to bring my style to that.
Absolutely.
I did a family where they were like the Addams family.
Yes, that's the one that caught my attention, and I'm like, oh, that's so my sister-in-law. It's just so cool.
I had recently a lady say, I want you to do my family like one of the Royal Tenenbaums. All of us are going to be a Tenenbaum character. So just stuff like that's fun.
It's just so clever.
Yeah. It's fun. Like I say, it doesn't look like a classic master's painting.
No, it's not a traditional family portrait, but it's so appealing. Oh God, it's just.
Well, thank you. It's fun, and I think people look at that, and that's what you said something earlier that really makes you feel good. You see one of my paintings that makes you smile.
Yes.
And sometimes you smile and you probably shouldn't be smiling, whether it's Michael Myers looking like David Bowie.
Exactly.
You shouldn't.
Yes,
But yet, and so I don't know, but that's a compliment to me when I hear people say my work makes them smile.
That's one of my favorite things about art, is
Right.
that it invokes emotions with no words, and
Right.
and that is like probably one of the most powerful things that we can experience as humans, right? Like
Totally
something
agree.
that evokes emotion without speaking.
Right.
That's just super powerful.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
what other ways are you creative? What else would you like to do outside of painting? I know you said you're into the Cowboys these days.
Well, I've drawn for the Cowboys. They had a magazine, and my first year was Landry's final year, like in '87. So I do a cartoon for them. I still do that. I do editorial cartoons for several publications: White Rock, Katy Trail, Amusement Park, and so I do a lot of stuff like that that I've been doing my whole life. But other things, I enjoy live music. I enjoy reading.
You reading anything currently right now?
Yeah, I read a little bit. Well, my favorite author is Jack Kerouac.
Oh, okay.
And I'll read on the road once a year.
Oh,
Because
okay.
if I can't travel. So I like the beatniks. I read books about Jesus because so much of religion nowadays isn't about that.
Right.
So I like seeing those real stories because he was the original beatnik, if you ask me.
I like that. I like that sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us Christians these days are having a hard time finding Christ
absolutely.
in Christian. Yeah. So.
And I always kid people. I tell them I'm not a Christian. I'm a follower of Jesus. So because those two things have not become the same.
You're right. They have not quite aligned in our recent history.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's and hunting for frames.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, and I got to mention I do a radio show once a week.
Yes, tell
Vintage
us. Yeah, give us
Salvation.
details about that. How can we look you up there?
It's on the Fishbowl Network. It's every Wednesday 11 to 1. With all this COVID, we've kind of scaled back a little bit because of the situation being around. But yeah, it's just me and a couple other guys, Guy still and Todd. We talk about pop culture and we play vinyl.
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, and
so cool.
Yeah, and so we once a week. So you can go on Fishbowl Network and find it out there somewhere.
Is it you guys publish or produce and all that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you ever need space to do that. That would be really fun to do here at Arco.
It would be great. Yeah. This would be the perfect setting.
Yeah. We've done a couple of podcast filmings here, and just random interview stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
anyway, we love hosting that kind of thing.
Awesome.
Let's see. What do you most enjoy about creating art?
You just kind of hit the nail on the head. It makes me feel good. I enjoy it. I mean, people wouldn't believe this, but I get up at 5:30 every morning and start going.
Wow.
Because you're not going to get any creative thoughts laying in bed doing nothing. I get up and go and just I'm excited to do it. It's not one of those things that I have to do. I get to do. I love doing it. I love giving it to the people. I've met artists that have a hard time. They say, I have a hard time selling my work. I said, what do you do with it? They go, well, I just have it stacked over there. And it's like, that's like having a vintage car in your garage that you're never going to drive. I love creating, love getting it out there. And, a big portion of my customers are repeat customers. I have several people that probably own 10 to 15 paintings of mine, and they continually come back and want something else and want something else, and that's to me a great compliment. And then their friends want that, and they see something on somebody else's wall. Person will come into Deep Ellum buy a painting, and a year later they'll say, hey, I bought a painting from you. Could you do this? So, I mean, that's to me one of the greatest compliments that somebody wants a repeat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, once is cool, but the repeat is like
yeah.
a real
Right.
testament to,
Right.
you know, that's so fun. Oh gosh, I was just gonna. Oh, my favorite post that I saw you share recently when you mentioned the Royal Tenenbaums, it's the layout that had the pictures, you know, on the back or on the, I guess it was maybe in their formal dining room.
Dining room, yes.
Oh my gosh, whoever designed that and all of your artwork there, the color scheme, the style, everything was so fun. That was really cool.
I had no idea that person had done that.
Oh, how fun.
I had done a show, and it was Royal Tenenbaums, and apparently they had gone and bought just about all of them, which I didn't know. You know, the guy had put it on, said, hey, you sold them all. I was like, great, that's really good.
Mentioned all the
didn't mention
one person.
It was one.
Oh, that's so
So
fun.
that person found me and said, look, I laid all these out, but there's a space there.
Oh, we're missing one.
Can you fill that space?
I need one extra to fill.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Let's see. Okay, I'm winding down to the end of my questions here.
All right, I'm about out of answers anyway.
What advice would you give to others that are seeking a career in art? Oh, I know what I wanted to touch on. Like part of your process, that's what I was going to ask. Was if in your process, if you have a time of day that you prefer, but you just get up and run with it. Like you captivate or capture that energy from waking up and
absolutely
just roll into.
I'll work through the night sometimes, you know, if it's called for. But comes a time, because I work so fast, and I just go and I go and I go, that finally by the end of the evening I'm like, okay, I got to hit the couch and watch nothing TV and listen to my headphones. But yeah, early morning is my favorite, just because I'm ready, you know. So yeah.
Seize the day.
Yes.
Okay, so I interrupted you in the question that I was asking, but what advice would you give to anybody seeking a career in art?
Probably my biggest word is persevere, and to just keep going. You know, so many people, I know so many great artists, you know, that are way better than what I've ever been, I could ever be, that just give up. You know, they for whatever reason, their work doesn't sell instantly. They get out there and they have some negative feedback, and they just, you know, they go away.
Discouraged.
Right, they get discouraged quickly, and I don't know, I guess I had thick skin, or I didn't care, you know, because I would just keep going and keep going. And that's what I would tell. I taught school for 10 years at Preston Hollow.
Excellent.
Taught art, and I have some of my students, and I have one girl who just now is a phenomenal artist, and her thing was she loved cartooning, and people would tell her, you can't do that, can't make a living at it. Well, when she found out that's what I did, it kind of, you know, pushed her to continue, and to this day she'll end up being a professional artist. And her mom says, because she saw you could do it and actually sell paintings that weren't, you know, classic paintings or whatever. So yeah, that would be the one thing I would tell any young person is, don't paint to make money, paint because you love it, and then find a way to make money after you do what you love. You know, don't compromise your life. Now, in saying that, I do some paintings that seems like I'm compromising and selling myself out, but it's because these people have bought other paintings, and I'm like, okay, I want to.
They're good,
be
good
there.
customers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what you do. I mean, no matter what you do. I mean, bands play, you know, requests all the time that they probably wouldn't have played.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, we hear that. Don't ask for such and such song. Or whatever. Cool. Well, Bubba, we really appreciate you spending some of your day here with us and answering some questions, and hopefully we can sell a couple more of your pieces from our current show, Chaotic Normalcy, that is up on our virtual and gallery wall website, or it's on the website underneath those tabs, but we'll make sure all those links are attached so you can find those easily. And thanks again for coming. We sure appreciate you.
First of all, thanks for having me. This is such a cool place. When I started showing here, I thought, this is so cool, you know, and I've been asked to be in other galleries and stuff, and it just wasn't the right fit. But this, I feels like home. And I love the crowd here, and the people who buy my paintings here are just cool people, and I just appreciate the opportunity to show in this wonderful gallery.
Well, thank you. Your work sells so well here. Like I said, it's just appealing to so many audiences.
Well, their lack of taste, I guess, is what it is.
Oh, no. You're funny. You're funny, Bubba. Anyway, we sure appreciate you and hope the best for you in the rest of this 2020 craziness and big blessings in 2021.
Well, thank you, and pony up.
Yes. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hi there. Welcome back to the gallery wall here at Deep Ellum Art Company. I'm here with William Bubba Flint. He and Chase Fleshman have the Chaotic Normalcy show featured currently here on the gallery wall here at Deep Ellum Art Company. I think I already said that. I'm like repeating myself.
That's all right.
Anyway, I wanted to chat with Bubba and let you guys hear some of the cool details about some of the pieces that are featured. So, Bubba, take it away.
Well, we were talking about a skateboard. One of my favorite subjects to paint on is skateboards, just because the skateboard culture.
Now, are these new or used?
No, they're ratty.
Reclaimed.
Reclaimed. Found at a garage sale for $5, and if you take both of them, you'll be doing me a favor. Yeah, I love them. I sand them down. Sometimes the old graphics on there are just like mushed out. You can't even tell what they are. So I sand them down and then paint whatever on there. That particular one got a Halloween flavor to it, which, by the way, is my favorite holiday. Most people can figure that one out. But yeah, I love painting on. And that you talked about reclaimed down there, and we can't see it, but there's an old hubcap on one that I put on there, and I love doing stuff like that. Just make it interesting. This one right here. Is on an old piece of pinball machine. That's the Pinball Board.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I have several pieces that have that. I bought an old pinball machine that was dismantled, horrible. So I just started hacking it up and using the pieces for different pieces of art.
Backdrops.
So yeah, and I cut that one out like a home plate and did a cool old baseball character from Bugs Bunny.
This one's called Baseball. It's $150 listed on the website.
Yep.
So cool.
It has a piece of the pinball machine actually up at the top, the little red piece.
Awesome. Do you so now have all of the other pieces with these pinball backdrops? Have you sold those already?
A lot of most I have. Yes, yeah, because they go fast. Here's the side of that pinball.
No
you
joke.
can't see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
how fun.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
I just love doing picking up something that I can paint on. I've painted on car hoods and car doors.
Oh, I love that one. The hood of the car. Oh, that was so cool.
Right.
So
the
cool.
Opening night there.
Yes, that was featured right in the middle.
Right.
So fun. Well, there's a lot of pieces that are available. Everything. Let's see. The pumpkin over here is, I believe that one's $60. I think that's right.
Yep, it is.
Ranging from $60 to this super cool, the robot bartender that even has the Deep Ellum Art Company pull for the beverage dispenser here is $275. This is a really beautiful piece. But all these are listed on our website for purchase. Supporting Bubba, of course, is naturally supporting local artists as well as Deep Ellum Art Company. And there's a ton of other stuff on the website for purchase. We are featuring our Art Code to Go. You can purchase our Craft on Draft cocktails. There are 7 of our signature cocktails. Those are for purchase, bundle and save on our website. There's also art bundles to gift this holiday season. And not to mention, like, there's tons of art pieces, prints, merchandise, T-shirts, pint glasses, all that kind of stuff for purchase. And there's something for everyone. One of my favorite pieces, I can't even believe this one is left, but the Prince is still here on the signature purple backdrop that Prince is known for, and the Morticia Adams. And the Big Boy, all of these nostalgic pieces that Bubba so craftily puts together. And I'm like totally losing all of my wording here. Okay, one more tip from John. Yes, okay, so even though, unfortunately, due to COVID closures, we are not open to the public, but we are definitely open to private viewings for, a limited number of people, masked, and all that kind of safe social distance stuff. So, call the number on the Facebook page, the website, that rings directly to John, and you can set up a private viewing, and we're available for pickups for all of your holiday needs. Anyway, thank you so much, Bubba. We are so appreciative to have you here
Thank you for having me.
And love having you on our art wall. And I wish you the best of luck in the rest of this 2020 year.
Thank you. Let's get this over with, right?
Yeah, right.
Let's get on. 2021.
Moving on. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.